Listen, the one thing that the enemy is after for everyone, I can see it. It's noticeable. The one thing that the enemy is after for everyone is this right here. It's your mind. It's what you're telling yourself. It's what you're believing. It's what you're not believing. And whatever you're not believing, the enemy plays on that. The enemy plays on our thoughts, our emotions, our actions. And if we don't have emotional intelligence for that, we can allow the enemy to steal our joy for everything else that God is doing for us, because we don't believe, or because we don't trust, or because we don't have our thoughts together. We don't have our minds straight. We don't have our mindset. Like, we have to like get to a place where we trust in God, but then we're doing also, like, we have to, first of all, when we asking God for anything, we have to be very specific with words. I learned that a long time ago as a baby believer, that whatever you asking for, you better be specific. You better be specific when asking, but also just understand that, like, some things take time, and in that time, sometimes your patience is getting tested. Sometimes your endurance. Sometimes how you gonna respond, like are you gonna pass or fail this test? Like, that's what different seasons of life is for. And so if we don't have this in check, if we don't have our minds in check, and we don't have our spirits in check with God, like, forget about what everything that you have going on. Forget about that. Forget about how you feeling, and just truly focus on God. Like, spend time with him, sit in his presence. Sometimes that means just sitting and being quiet. And you'll know when it's the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit is not going to tell you anything negative or bad. Holy Spirit is really like a gentle, calm voice. And most of the time, because we have so much going on and we thinking about so much and got so much on our mind, we don't hear that subtle voice. And I had to um really evaluate myself, because I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting the hang of it, and I'm building and growing my relationship with God. I'm healing and growing, but I got to make sure I'm doing my part as well. God can't do it all for me. He can't do it all for us. And we have to be able to be willing to take a step, and he will give us the strength to keep going. That doesn't mean that it's not going to be hard. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get tested. That doesn't mean that it's not going to be some days where you just like, oh my God, like, I really don't want to do this. It's going to be days like that, but that's all a part of the process. That's all a part of the journey. And it really truly molds you until you need to be who you need to be. A lot of us lack character. And the reason why we lack character is because whenever we're going through something, we don't learn from it. So while we're going through, in our seasons of going through, God is developing our character, right? And so we're not learning nothing and we're not growing in that season, our character is going to be hindered. Like, we cannot grow and go to the next dimension. Like, it's like that's where you get stuck in the cycle. And it's because of patterns of familiarity, it's because of mindset, and it's because of what you're telling yourself. Listen, when you see me go ghost, that means I am in spiritual warfare, and I am in God's presence, or I'm seeking his face. Because sometimes you seeking God's face and he not answering. And it's the reason for that. Another topic for another time. But in all reality, like, you got to get yourself to a place where, as you fill up and as you learn and grow, you can pour out to others. But you can't always pour, because if you always pour, you're going to be empty. And I had to learn that. Okay, it's a balance to this thing. It's a balance to this life. And I often find myself, like, just thinking about all the things in my life. Like, I know for a fact I'm not the only person that just, sometimes a wave of thoughts come, and it's like thoughts of what I did, what I didn't do, who I met, who I talked to, what I said, how I thought. Like, it just a flood of thoughts, right? And if I don't get that in check, that thing will take over my day. I will be so quiet, and like, I'm a bubbly person. Even my kids know, and my kids know, like, when I'm quiet, they're like, "Mom, are you okay? Like, are you sick?" Listen, My heart might be sick, baby. That's why I'm quiet. And I tell them that. I tell them that sometimes mommy needs a second to herself. And I'm quiet because I'm letting God deal with me. I'm letting the Holy Spirit deal with my heart and deal with my mind. Because if I don't do that, I am like, I'm going to be hindered in that moment. And so what I'm learning to do, and what I've learned, because I found myself in different cycles and seasons of my life where when I'm going through in my mind, I just like, it's such a pull. And I'm gonna just be really honest, it's such a pull for me to pull on God. When I'm like really deep in mental spiritual warfare, it's really hard for me to tug on God and really force myself, because the flesh don't want to do that. The flesh is like, nah, you good, just chill, like, oh, you just needed whatever. But like, literally, when I get to that place and my soul is like aching to the point where I don't want to hear nothing, like I want silence, that's when I know that I need God. And I literally have been training myself, not forcing, I've been training myself to push through. And if that means me putting on worship or gospel music, that's what I'm going to do. I gotta push myself. I gotta push my mind through this fog. If I stay stuck in my thoughts, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna get anything done. And I know that that is a true testament for a lot of people, because we've all been through a lot. We've all been through something. And I don't want to be the person to say, don't use what you've been through to make you who you are, because what you go through does make you who you are. But it's how you turn that thing around, and it's how you allow God to heal you. Because like I said, every day is not going to be easy with this healing process. We never actually fully heal. Healing is a lifelong journey. I'm learning all this stuff now. And so as I'm learning and growing, I'm learning that, okay, like, yeah, you might have a bad day, but okay, you got another day. Get back up, try again, go harder, do more than what you did yesterday, and make sure that you have your mind on the right things and on the right stuff, which is God, which is hearing from him and needing direction. Because when you need him to do something, like, you can't just be like, okay, God, I want, this is what I've been praying for, and I want this, but not do anything after that. And sometimes not doing nothing is literally not saying nothing. Like, listen to him. Let him deposit what he needs to deposit in your mind and your heart and your spirit. And then you move forward from there. Oh, goodness, y'all. I'm on my this speaker, Tony Gaskins, he calls it the 3 B's: brain, brand, body. I'm on my 3 B's, y'all. I'm a single mom of 3, if you ain't know already. And I don't like to claim certain titles, but I have, been through some things. I got some wisdom and some knowledge, and so I gotta apply myself if I want the best outcome for my life and for my children's lives. So I'm working on my 3 B's: brain, get this brain right, okay? I be listening to YouTube, podcasts, gospel, whatever I can feed my mind during the day when I'm doing what I need to do. That was brain. Brand, okay, coming soon. Brand coming soon. I remember a month or 2 ago, I made a video and I was just letting the devil use me. And I'm gonna say that because I honestly spoke something over myself, and I had told myself that I could never see myself as an entrepreneur. And I was like, look at that doubt, Alexis. See, I'm not a perfect Christian. I'm not perfect. We all make mistakes, but see, the thing is, you got to recognize it. And I recognize that I spoke something over myself that I ain't even try to trust God. I just let it come out my mouth. So we changing that narrative, okay? Brand coming soon. Stay tuned. Body, getting this body right, okay? Listen, I'm not doing this for everybody and anybody. I'm doing this for me. I want to show and prove to myself that I can take care of myself, my body, my health, my mind, my mental. And working out is like a release. Like, if I'm going through anything, I'm finna push through this workout, because I know it's good for me. And when I finish, I'm gonna feel good, I'm gonna have energy, and it's gonna start my day. And so I like to do that in the morning times. Listen, it don't gotta be perfect. You get you a routine and just start. And even if you gotta start over and you gotta keep starting over, like, just stay on top of it. Don't give up. Don't give in. When it gets tough and when it gets hard, you gotta press through, y'all. Pressing through is the hardest thing, because pressing through means ignoring what you really want to do and doing what God's telling you to do. I pray this bless somebody. Listen, I'm finna go in here. I got some things to do today, but y'all stay tuned. Y'all stay tuned for the move of God and be willing and open to hear from God. Y'all be blessed.